Hello, and welcome to Thursday. My promised makeup for missing Saturday, for just completely flaking out on Saturday. We're going to use part of the pineapple today, not the whole thing. Too much pineapple. We're going to use part of the pineapple. I was wandering about looking for ideas, and let me tell you what sparked my idea. What sparked me for the idea? It was a sale on mozzarella cheese. So yeah, we're gonna make a pizza. That's the plan. But I don't want to make a standard pizza. I wanted to make a rice pizza. Fried rice pizza specifically. Although we're not actually frying the rice. We're going to let the oven do the frying of our rice. I have some rice. I put it in here to cool. I made it in advance so that we have a chance to cool off a little bit before we get working with it, so it does not immediately scramble the eggs. So we're starting with a little bit of pre-made rice, which there it is. What we're essentially going to do is construct a crust out of it, but I want to know how much I need. So we're going to start by taking our rice and putting it on our pizza pan. See if I've got too much or potentially not enough, but I hope I've got just the right amount. That's the hope. It's a bit sticky. We probably should have oiled it. As you can see, it's a bit sticky. I think that's going to be just the right amount, actually, when we get down to it. Spear! I'm surprised. Wow, amazing. You're first. My hands are all sticky. Okay. Good sign that we have the right amount. Welcome in. What do you like to put on your fried rice pizzas? We wanted the rice to be a little bit sticky, so I only rinsed it a part way, but this is a little bit too sticky. Whole shellfish. I can do that. I can do that. We could do that right now today. I have, in fact, whole, head-on shellfish in the freezer that we could enlist for this project. If you really want that. It would be very crunchy. Okay, we're going to get that into this bowl. Try to scrape the thing off as cleanly as we can. I don't want to lose rice as we go if I can help it. I put it there to eyeball how much we've got. I was planning on combining the pineapple with pork and make like a pork pineapple fried rice combo because I think pork and pineapple go really well together. I also have some less than entirely intact shellfish that might also work. We have shrimp. I also got I've got some of the things being frozen makes them hard to work with. I've got some frozen scallops in there, but they're kind of in a brick because they're all touching each other. Okay. Welcome in. Surprise, I'm here. Thursday. So this is, I made this in advance so that it would be cool enough that I could just start and not have to wait for the rice. out a scraps bowl right away. And we're kind of going to construct a fried rice here out of fresh rice. Why is it so bright? Is it all the reflective surfaces making it extra bright? Let's try. Oop, too bright. Kind of liney. Oh well, I'll just freak my camera out for a second there. So we're going to kind of construct all the things, and then we need to blind bake the crust, because once there's toppings on it, I worry it won't get those yolks scrambled in. I'm just gonna use my fingers for this. I worry it won't get enough direct heat to really solidify and give us a cohesive crust. So anything that I want mixed into the rice crust, I have to do now. The egg is here both because fried rice has eggs in it, and also because egg is what's going to turn this into a crust instead of just a pile of loose rice. Okay. And now we can do mix-ins. I've done stuff like this before. I think I've made a rice crust before. I don't know if I made that on stream, but I made a noodle. I remember making a noodle crust on stream a couple times, and it's the same basic idea. Rinse the egg off my hands. We're gonna move this aside and prep some other things. We're gonna keep the eggs handy. We could put an egg on top. I know they put an egg on top of pizza in, like, I want to say that's Sweden, the Netherlands, maybe. You know, weird places. I've got half a carrot from time that we used the other half of this carrot. Will that be enough carrot for that? Possibly. I will dice it up and see what it looks like in little dicey bits. Because I wouldn't put carrot on top of the pizza, but little diced up bits will be good. The tip is gone brown. That end looks okay. I wouldn't put it on top, but having it in the mix with the rice seems good to me. And it'll make it look more like a fried rice as well, because fried rice often has bits of carrot in it. Oh, how's everyone's Thursdays going? I don't get to ask that very often. Although I did last week. Add my carrots to our bowl, which is just off to the side, off to the right here. So I'm having a pretty good day in general. Nothing special, nothing untoward. I've got some frozen peas that are kind of in a big brick, but we can break them apart and just add them in frozen. They fall apart a little bit. We lost one on the floor. I often keep frozen peas for the purposes of throwing them in something like this, because you can just throw them in frozen directly. But I don't cook things often enough, it would seem, because they're getting a little freezer burned, which means they've probably been in there quite a while. So I guess I need to do more things that call for frozen peas. We're looking for about an equal amount of peas as we have carrot cubes. Perhaps just a little bit more, because I think they'll want to shrink up as we cook them compared to the carrots. Okay, that's probably good enough. Back in the freezer with them. A drizzle of sesame oil for flavor. We want some soy sauce, but we don't want too much soy sauce on account of it being very liquidy. So we might actually use the medium sweet here. Because it's a little bit thicker, stickier. We don't want too much. We'll see how that looks once I've got it stirred in. And yes, some onion. Although I also want to put onions on top, so not too much onion. But yes, some onion in the mix. Remember, we're making a pizza, not just a fried rice. So we're gonna kind of take the tail off of a white onion here. Two skin layers. And cut that little dried up bit off. They want to come apart, as onions do, of course. And that should be enough. That's about the same amount as I've got the other two things. Normally I'd add a little bit more onion, but again, onion on top. So that's what we have it look like now. We're going to stir it together and see how well distributed everything looks. This is 1 cup of dry rice, just cooked normally. And then left out to kind of cool. And it stuck together a little bit because I didn't take it out of the cooker. I just left it in there to cool off. So it kind of stuck together into a little bit of a puck. Probably also because I only half-heartedly rinsed it. I didn't want it to be real sticky, but I wanted it to be maybe just a little bit sticky so the starch would help pull it together. Yeah, I think that looks like, visually at least, a fried rice. Minus, like, being finished and having toppings and stuff. Where are these little buggers coming from? I've had an invasion of those little tiny things. I don't know what they are even. They're like gnats. Um, and I think we want to oil the pan as well, just to ensure. Megs, welcome in. Hello. How's it going? What's up? What's new? What's kicking? How's Texas? Still hot? Bean sprouts. Ooh, I didn't think of bean sprouts. I don't have any bean sprouts. It is a good idea. I don't have any bean sprouts. We're going to oil our pan. To hopefully, even though this is a non-stick pan, head off sticking, because the egg is going to run the risk of gluing onto even a non-stick surface. I hope it's not getting too crushing. I know it was very crushing before. Okay. Well, my fingers are oily. I'm just going to use my oily fingers to scrape this right in there. It even smells like fried rice already. Probably the sesame oil. Sesame oil is jumping out as an aromatic right now, on account of it being very fresh. Okay, and then what we need to do is press this guy down into a flat sheet, a relatively even flat sheet with no gaps, if we can manage it. And push any excess sort of humps out to the edges to make the it's stick, and it is sticking to my hands, which is not ideal. It's okay if it tears. We're not. It's okay if it's okay if it tears while we're pushing it, because this is not a dough. We can just repair it by patching some rice in. The bits of vegetable that are in here definitely have the risk of creating structural problems, as they don't stick quite as well. But as long as the middle is flat, we're probably in the good. Take a little off of this side. Use it to patch some of these low spots. I don't know how long to bake this. It's until it's solid. Ooh, I haven't been preheating the oven. Just occurred to me, I have not been preheating the oven. Zizan, welcome in. There's likely to be leftovers of this, honestly. I need to rinse my hands off because I need to turn the oven on, because I was not preheating the oven. Oven. That rack's in a good spot. Let's put it to... Oh, I should have been preheating my oven. What was I thinking? Wash, 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 wash. Wash, 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 wash your hands. Welcome in, Saizan. I'll be over there to moisten in just a moment. Thank you for the moisten. Moist. And Jen, resubscribing for the 11th month. That, if my calculations are correct, is almost one entire year. Also, some fried rice. There it is. It's not fried, but it's rice. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of Tugboat's math, where it is always almost a year. I gotta see what. I know this is not a completely original concept, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab an egg. Make the thing. How hot? 425. Okay, we can do that. Now, see, the blind baking of the crust is substantially longer than a normal pizza. I know this from testing it out with, like, when we made that noodle bun burger, and when I made something else with rice. Oh, I made a mac and cheese pizza. Remember that one? That one was ages ago. Getting this to bind takes longer than if I was just using dough, which is why I should have been preheating my oven, and I forgot. But yes, pineapple fried rice pizza. So we've got this beautiful pineapple. This one right here. We've got this beautiful pineapple. It's the rice is cooked, but you wouldn't use raw rice for this anyways. What you need to do is bake it long enough for the egg to harden up. So this is being blind baked, and then we're going to take it out, top it, and then bake it again with the toppings. Ryuya, what is a pineapple fried rice pizza? Well, as you can see right before you on the picture here, this is rice. This is the a little bit of lag on my screen there. This is, oh, what is causing that? What is causing when I have my hands on the edges? Lost track of my brain. This is rice mixed with diced up carrots, peas, onions, and eggs, and a little bit of sesame oil and a little bit of our medium sweet dark soy sauce. And we have shaped it into a pizza pan, which we are momentarily, as soon as the oven is hot, which is going to take a couple minutes now, going to blind bake, and this is going to be our pizza crust. And then I'm going to assemble a pizza on top of it using the pineapple as well as some other things. I've got some pork. I've also got some bacon. I was thinking those two. We've got onion. There's onion in there, but I want to throw more onion on top. We've got some bell peppers. We've got all sorts of odds and ends. Speaking of onion, I'm actually going to take that guy off the edge, because I think he's going to burn if he sticks up like that, and kind of nestle him in. So that's the plan. I am just kind of making this up. We're in a making it up mood the past couple of days. I've got lots of odds and ends. I'm planning on concocting a sauce for it as well. There are 2 eggs mixed into the rice. That's going to be our binder. The rice is also a little bit stickier than average on account of I did not fully rinse it, so there's a little bit of extra starch in there. I did do some rinsing, but I didn't fully rinse it. So it was a little bit, sticky as is, and then I added 2 eggs to it to bind it. So the eggs are not cooked. That's another thing we're going to do. The eggs that are normally going in fried rice as sort of a scramble are going in here raw to use as a binding agent. They'll impart their flavor, but they will not really be visible as little lumps of egg. No, you're right. If I just assembled rice into this shape and baked it, it would just be baked rice. It wouldn't stick together. And I'm a little worried that this isn't going to fully harden together because I've done this in the past with noodles, but I think that the pieces of vegetable that are in here will cause a few structural problems. I am going to end up baking the crust twice. We're going to bake it once to harden it up, and then we're going to put toppings on it and bake it like a pizza. So yes, think of this as if we had bought one of those pre-made pizza crusts, because those are par-baked as well. We're essentially making our par-baked pizza crust and then assembling stuff on top of it. And I, again, should have been preheating my oven, because then I could have just slapped this in and we could have moved on to assembling other toppings. Some of the toppings are meats, and I'm not sure if I want to do those raw and then have to bake them through or pre-cook them. Do you typically? I don't think you typically put raw bacon on a pizza when you cook it. Raw bacon will render, and it will not be well cooked. So we're gonna probably have to pre-cook some of the meats. Pre-cook the meats. We've got some onion. We've got couple different kinds of onion. I wanted to put scallions on top rather than mixed in because I think they will really shrivel up if I bake them too long. So I might put them in. I might honestly put them on right at the very, very end. For the sauce, I have an idea. I want to embrace the tomato-ness, but I agree that just straight up tomatoes. Oh, we have an ad. I hope you can. I'll hold my tongue about the sauce until we're clear of ad time. And there will be cheese. There will also be cheese. Bacon, pork. Lots of odds and ends. But I'm gonna hold off talking about what my plan for the sauce until we're clear of ad time, just to ensure that everyone does get to hear what I say, even if you are not subbed. And I might throw more egg on top. While the ad is running, I need to take care of something real quick. So a couple seconds left on that ad slot. I know not everyone gets the ad for the full time slot, but some people do. So I'm going to, and it doesn't ever let me know. So I'm going to err on the side of not saying until all of these timers have cleared. I get 3 timers now. It's weird. I used to have to go out of my way to get 1 timer, and now it gives me timers every which way. Okay, we're clear of the ad slot. So I was talking about the sauce. I have a plan for the sauce, and I agree that just straight up normal tomato sauce would not be. Or I'm rinsing out the eggy rice bowl. Normal tomato sauce, I think, would not be the right flavor here. but I want to embrace some tomato. I don't want to go completely off on tomato. So I picked up some tomato puree, which is just blended tomatoes, nothing else. So we're going to use some of that as the base of the sauce, so I can add my own flavors to it without being roped into just like an Italian sauce. I was thinking I would add some hoisin and then taste it and see where it goes from there. So that's the plan for the sauce. I could not find a smaller can of tomato puree. We're not going to use all of this. This would drown the pizza if I just used this. I'm going to add stuff to it. So that is the plan for the sauce. We're gonna add some stuff to it though. We're gonna think about the sauce as we go. We're gonna taste it as we assemble it. The oven just clicked, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick this guy into it. Wow. Jen loves hoisin, I guess. This is a different new brand. I've never tried this one before, so we're also going to try out. I usually get that kind that comes in the squeeze bottle. But I wanted to try a different one this time, so I grabbed a different one. So now that that's in there, we will keep an eye on our time, because it's only going to be in there for, I want to say, check it at 10 minutes. So we can really kind of think about all the other things separately. I have exactly that. Laogan Ma Spicy Chili Crispies. I love those things. You're right. That would be a decent flavor as well. I've also got a few other things. We're not necessarily roped into just Chinese flavors. I have a few other options we could reach for as well. Yeah, this one's real thick, thicker than the squeeze bottle stuff for sure. Let me give it a taster. Oh, whoa. It's different. It's different from the kind I'm used to. It's even sweeter. Which is, it's different. It's different. It still reads as a hoisin, but it's got a sweeter profile to it. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's also not terribly. I think it's less salty as well, which I suppose is probably good. Still pretty salty, but I think it feels a little bit less salty, which is probably good because that means I can control the saltiness of the finished product a little bit more. Oh, well, have a good trip. Let us know what you get, I guess, when you get back. I'll probably still be here because we have a project. A project is afoot. Let's get the tomato open. I know tomato is not a huge ingredient in Chinese cuisine, but it's not unheard of. It's not like it's some completely foreign thing. So if I wanted to do some research, I probably could find something that would give me a some guidance here. Actually, when I was reading about borscht for my borscht project, I ran across a Chinese borscht that is tomato based. Okay, this stuff definitely needs thickening as well. So it's good that we have other thick ingredients to add to this. Spicy honey. We could do that, but we have a lot of things going on as it is. So let's start by just giving a nice big scoop of this in there, and stir it together and see what it tastes like with it before I add anything else. We also have lots of dry spices we can add to this, and some fresh spices outside. So there are definitely possibilities here, but I don't want to run from the fact that this is a pizza. I don't want to make this just fried rice in the shape of a pizza. I want this to be both things. Tomatoey. Little bit metallic, but that's from the raw tomato. Yeah, that's coming from the raw tomato, which will cook out when we actually bake it. Definitely has more of a dark, sweet note to it with the hoisin. We're going to add a little dab more of that. Lick my finger. Mm. Mm. Running out of places for jars in the fridge. Spicy Chili Crispies are a lovely idea, and I'm going to go right for that. Rinse the spoon off to avoid cross-contaminations. Really get below the oily surface and get some of the chunks. Oh my goodness, Toka! Toka! You're raiding me! You're bringing hugs and ramen! Oh my god! Oh my god! Toka, welcome in! Oh my god, let me give a shout out. What are you doing? What were you doing today? I don't have a thing to check what you were doing today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Raiders. Hi, I always forget to introduce myself when Raiders come in. Hi, Raiders. I'm Jovial Jovian. You can call me Jovial. You can call me Jovian. You can call me Joe, I guess, if you really want to. I cook. That's what I like to do. I always talk about doing other things, and I have done other things, but those are more like special events. Bread and butter over here is cooking. Today we're making fried rice pizza. Layers of Fear. Ooh. Ooh. I've not seen the remake, but I've seen the original Layers of Fear, and that's a pretty good one. Well, we're currently concocting a hybrid pizza sauce. The crust is currently being blind baked in the oven. We'll be checking on that in a little bit. The crust is most of our rice, all of our rice. So we have to blind bake that because there's no way it's going to bind together with toppings on it. We just have a pile of rice. I'm trying to incorporate Italian flavors with our fried rice. Currently we have tomato puree, hoisin sauce, and spicy chili crispies here. Those spicy chili crispies, which we could actually probably add just a dab more. Well, welcome in. Glad to see you. Glad to see the Raiders. If anyone was not following Toka before now, get on that. Toka also cooks sometimes. More games, but also cooks. We had a great time a couple weeks ago, I think. It was making ramen. That doesn't fit there. I'm running out of spaces in my fridge. I think this needs a little bit of Italy to balance out the China. So we're throwing in some dry oregano, some dry garlic, and some of the very end of my dry basil. Oops. Which I won't be able to taste the dry spices really well with it cold like this, but they'll infuse as it heats up. We should take a peek at our crust. Where's my pot holders? We should take a peek at our crust. Ooh, it looks so different than we put it in already. There it is. It has become, well, it's a little bit blown out on the camera. It's much browner already, even than when I put it in, although it's getting a little bit blown out on this light. Let me see if I can't adjust the light a little bit. It's taken on a little bit more of a brownness. I'm gonna poke the top and see how solid it is. I'd like to get under it and see if it holds. It might hold. I'm gonna throw it back in for just a couple more minutes. We have the time. We're not yet itching to throw toppings on it yet. So I'm going to throw it in for just a couple more minutes to firm up that top a little bit more. But I think it's within a couple minutes of being exactly where I want it to be. Back to the sauce. Let's taste the sauce. What does that want? What does that want? It wants something. what does that want? I'm going to give you a little bit of sesame oil and a little bit of soy sauce. Just a little bit of each. I think it just needs a tiny dash. There's usually olive oil in Italian sauces anyways, so using sesame as a stand-in for that, I think will be a good way to nod to different flavors. Taste. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. I'm going to call that our sauce. So it's tomato puree, hoisin, chili crispies, sesame oil, soy sauce, oregano, garlic, and basil. I've got a clutter around here. We'll move our clutter. We're not going to need the can opener, so we can just put that away. Bonus from this kind of can opener. The blade never goes inside the can, so you do not need to wash it unless you slip and get it inside in the food. Okay, the sauce is done. Let's chop up some vegetables. I've got a lovely bicolored pepper. I've also got one that started out green when I bought it and has turned completely orange. But I think I want the green yellow. I want the green side actually, but probably not that whole thing. So we're gonna use part of this guy. Picking the right knife. This was a farmer's market pepper. Because they're looking very good at the farmer's market these days. And I will have to use that other half within the day, probably for lunch tomorrow. Now that it's split, it won't keep any longer. And we cut the pith out because the pith tastes like pith. It's a very juicy pepper. Wow, it's juicing all over me. Get rid of those seeds. Seed. And I'm going to get rid of this little nubbin as well because it's got some dirt on it. God, maybe even a quarter of this pepper would have been enough. It's a big pepper. Yeah, I think one quarter of this pepper would have been enough. So I'm not going to slice up the other part there, but I'm going to have to put it in a baggie in the fridge now because I've trimmed it, because that's going to be enough pepper for our pizza. Yeah, party colors. Okay. I got other things I got to use up tomorrow too, so it's just being added to the list. The pile of stuff that I used for the new intro screen is in fact stuff that I have to use. It was all real fresh ingredients. Okay, the crust is coming out. And ow, it's steaming my face. This time the crust is coming out and staying out. Give it a poke, poke. It seems good. It needs to cool off a little bit before I top it. So it's gonna sit there on top and kind of. We're gonna move it over to this side because the top of the stove gets less hot over here when the oven is on. We need to pre-cook some meat, so we should do that as well. I got distracted by the pepper, and I should have done the pre-cooking of the meat first. So let's throw the pepper in there. Let's set aside my wooden board. Let's get out my plastic board for meat. And we're going to start with some bacon. I'm going to go with both bacon and the pork loin. We don't need all of this. So, I am of the opinion that the ham and pineapple pizza that everyone dislikes, well, not everyone, but that is so controversial, is in fact a bad pizza. But it is not the pineapple, it is the ham. And it's because they use sliced deli ham overwhelmingly for those things because it's cheap and available. The flavor of the ham is not the problem. It's that when you use a thinly sliced, previously cooked deli meat, it gets hard and dried out and ruins it. And that's my objection to the ham and pineapple pizza. I think pineapple is a great topping for pizzas, personally. I think the sweetness and the acidity go really well with a typical greasy pizza because the acidity is a balancing factor to oiliness, and pizzas are typically very oily. I'm putting the bacon pieces here into a cold pan. We're putting the bacon pieces here into a cold pan. We're going to render them out a bit. They don't need to be cooked super well since they're going in the oven afterwards. And they will also grease the pan for the second meat, which is going to be a little bit of a pork loin that I'm then going to have to work out what else to do with. It was on sale. I might throw it in a marinade. I don't have any prosciutto. Prosciutto would probably work. Prosciutto would also work on the standard pineapple pizza as the oily pork product. I've run out of room. Oh, I've run out of room. But yes, prosciutto I think is a good shout for this purpose as well. In fact, a number of cured pork products would work here. I bet you could do this with guanciale. I know you could do this with pancetta. Wash my hands real quick, although I'm going to get them dirty again almost immediately. But yeah, and I wanted to add the bacon here because bacon is cured, so it has some saltiness to it. It also has some oil to it, and since I'm not using a particularly fatty meat, I wanted to ensure that it wasn't going to be real dry. So let's get this guy out. We're only going to use a little bit of him. It's a pork loin roast on the small side. Ooh, we could do that. It's a little bit late to be doing any sort of brining or marinating or rubs that'll actually infuse the meat with anything. But I'm also going to cut it pretty thin, so it's not impossible to get something in there. Again, we don't want too much of this either. Oop. Almost got away with that one. How would you suggest I go about adding a flavorant to this at this stage? I have some thoughts, but I don't think that. The thing is, I don't think they're going to. Oh, we have an ad. I didn't call out the ad in advance. Here it is. I'm gonna take one more slice of this. Okay. I will save the rest of that because I think that's the right amount for our pizza. Between that and the bacon, we can have plenty of meaty toppings. Oh, that's the wrong bag. Shoot, I touched it with my pork hand. I grabbed a sandwich bag when I was supposed to grab a storage bag. I touched it with my pork hand. Okay. Get you in there. Grab a steel bowl. Pork the bowl. Move the knife and board away because they're all porky. Wash hands. Used towel. 5 spice. Well, I probably would go for like an Italian hybrid spice. What's in 5 spice? Anise, fennel. Ooh, Szechuan pepper. I've got some of that. Cloves, cinnamon. Yes. Quote, 5 spice powder is a mixture of 5 or more spices. Helpful. I know it's got cinnamon. I know it's got clove. Let me get out my grinder. Where did I put my grinder? It's here. Okay, let's throw in some things. We're getting interesting here. We're getting interesting here. Clove is a very strong flavor, so I'm going to add only 3 cloves. Bacon's getting fragrant. That and a pinch of salt to help act as an abrasive. So that's Szechuan peppercorns, black peppercorns, fennel, cloves, basil, allspice, garlic powder, dash of cinnamon. Oop, it's all the dash I want. Cinnamon's also a strong flavor. And salt. Got to keep an eye on these bacons. Let me stir them around real quick. Again, I don't think they need to be fully cooked. They just need to be mostly cooked so they can finish on the top of the pizza. So I'm pounding these to break up all the spherical seeds that are in there. And then we're going to do our classic grind. Could have put these in the motorized grinder too. The fennel seeds are resisting. We're getting there. Okay. Okay. I guess we're going for a spice blend on the pork loin. which is interesting. Bacons. The bacons are looking good enough to pull out. They need their own dish again. Everybody needs a dish. And I'm going to pull them out with chopsticks. Get over to the stove. I'm going to pull them out with chopsticks because it'll be easier to leave the grease in place, which we need to have the pan greased up for the pork loin, because pork loin is a lean piece by comparison to bacon. Although there's a little bit of fat on there, so it's not completely lean. Okay. Those guys can sit in the back. Get these stirred around in the spices before I throw them in there. Let's chopstick them in there so I can lay them flat and get them started as well. Now these I think I want to be cooked a bit more thoroughly than the bacons. This is the nonstick pan that's starting to lose its nonstick. Time to get a new one. Which is a shame. I've had this one for so long. It's my favorite one. But it happens. Okay. With a little bit of our spice blend left, the Szechuan peppercorn that's in there is going to be a surprise upon eating. These pieces are thin enough that I can probably start flipping them right away. And this shan't take very long. Again, I don't think they need to be cooked to death. They just need to be cooked through. In this case, cooked through, because we're not trying to render a bunch of extra fat off of these like we were with the bacon. We just want the proteins to be cooked and the whole thing to be heated to safety, but we don't want to dry them out like mad. So just a few minutes, not even a few minutes, just real quick. I gotta think of what else to do with the rest of that pork loin. I can see now that our pizza has actually cooled off a little bit, it's shrunk away from the sides just a hair, like a millimeter or so, which is neat. It means that it's not sticking to the sides. Still potentially sticking in the middle, but not sticking to the sides is a good sign that it might not be sticking in the middle. I'm going to cut some onion. We have some red onion from the other day when I made when I used the other half of this red onion, making the thing that I made the other day, which was food. I'm losing track of the things I make. What did I make on Tuesday? I was real excited about it. It's because I made it up. I didn't have a planned out recipe for it. It was God, what was it? I'm having a senior moment here. Okay. I think the red onion here will provide some fun color. And also I had to use it up. Oh yeah, it was my curry gumbo. That pork is done. There's no way that pork is not done. Yeah, we're getting browning on the other side already. Give them all a quick flip. It was curry gumbo with the snake gourd. I was all excited about the snake gourd. That's what it was. And then we served it over couscous. Let's just take that off the hot burner though, because that burner's hot. Pop was back over here, and I've sliced up some red onion, which I will just be putting on as a sprinkling. Not the core piece there though. And this is why I didn't want to put too much onion in the rice mix for the crust, because we have onion. I want to put onion on top. I like onion on my pizzas. And this one had to be used up, so there. Although I might again have too much for the pizza. Well, the crust is par cooked, so we can potentially really load up. Oh, a moisten. Oh, my water's empty. Thank you for the moisten. Some water, some fresh water here. Mmm. Moist. Peppers, onions, pork, bacon, sauce, jalapeno, and the thing that's actually in the title, pineapple. Can't forget the pineapple. See, pineapple is something I would put in fried rice readily. I wouldn't even like hesitate. Oh, this guy. Let me tell you, this pineapple. I've been smelling this pineapple when I come in. Look at how richly colored it's becoming. Every time I walk in the door, I can smell this pineapple just through the rind. We have a little soft spot right there. In fact, it's going maybe just a shade too far. We don't need very much of this. It's sad that I don't need very much of this because it's such a beautiful pineapple. I'm just going to end up snacking on pineapple for a while. But we don't need a ton of this, so I'm going to just get started. Get started. There we go. Ooh, fresh pineapple. Okay, that's probably all the pineapple I need for the pizza. We'll see how much after I cut the... We've got to take the core out of the middle and the rind out of the side. Or the, yeah, the rind off the side, which is going to be this way. Maybe one more slice, just because I... Grill it before throwing it on. We could grill it before throwing it on. Pineapple on pizza typically isn't pre-grilled. And pineapple doesn't caramelize super fast on account of the water content. They're a little bit smaller than I thought they were once I got the outer ring off. So we're going to take another slice. That's the butt, don't forget. That one's not... I was going to go for pieces rather than rings. Ooh, there's a... Huh. Well, get rid of that piece. It'll make cutting the skin a little bit easier because I can go around starting at the break point now. So my plan was for like pieces. Let's... Oh, I gotta taste this guy. Fresh pineapple. Mmm. This is something, for a long time, I didn't like fresh pineapples. Because for a long time, I only ever had the ones that were kind of green on the outside, because you see piles of those. When they have pineapples, they have piles and piles of pineapples that are like green. They got like brownish yellow spots on them, but they're predominantly sort of a greenish color. And where I've been, that's usually how they're served. They're not allowed to ripen any further than that. That's just assumed that's how pineapples are. And then I was gifted a pineapple plant that was fruiting. And that fruit matured, and it developed, and I looked up, when should I pick it? And it developed this color. It took on this beautiful golden hue on the outside. And it was the sweetest pineapple I'd ever had at that point. And now I only get pineapples when they are the beautiful golden hue. Because they are so sweet, so juicy. They still have a little bit of that that acidity, that bite. There's actually an enzyme in pineapple that breaks down animal proteins, and that is why when you eat a big pile of pineapple, your mouth will start to hurt after a while. It's not a very fast effect, but it'll give you a little bit of a sting. You can use that to try to tenderize meats, but it's strong enough that it'll actually make meat go mushy if you leave it in there too long. I am going to caramelize the pineapple a little bit. We're going to pop over here. We're going to pull these pork pieces out, throw them in with the bacon, and we can just use this pan because it's pre-greased. The flavors in here are going in there anyways. But like, crank it up on the temperature to get a little bit of browning on the surfaces. Your dog likes eating pineapple cores. That sounds weird. That seems a little weird. So that's quite a bit of pineapple, but I wanted pineapple to be prompt. Why is this camera freaking out? Stop freaking out, camera. I gotta figure out what to do with the rest of this pineapple. Probably just snacks. Gonna let it rest over here so it's out of the way. This camera doesn't like things that I'm doing. The bottom of the pineapple here, I'm probably just gonna eat with a spoon. Just get a spoon and kind of scrape the tastiness out. There's not a lot in there. Mmm. Mmm. I should do this on my own time instead of on your time. Okay. That pan is hot, instant sizzle. And we're just going to toss these around until they develop a little bit of color, and then we're going to stop. I'm going to wipe some of the pineapple juice off the cutting board because I want to use it for one more item. And that is this jalapeno. This is extremely seedy jalapeno. Wow, the seeds go all the way, almost all the way down. I was expecting more pieces like the ones on the left and less pieces like the ones on the right that are just a big pith with a seeds squished in there. Interesting. Those are picking up color very, very fast. We have an ad coming up in just a few moments. I will not assemble the pizza until after that ad. We're just going to do our last few ingredient preps, and that's going to be it. So if you're waiting for me to assemble the pizza, never fear, you won't miss it. But I am going to de-pith these jalapeno rings because there's too much pith for my taste. I know I've already got a pepper on here, but I wanted another one. Plus the pith and the seeds are where the most of the heat is, and I don't want this to be like explosively spicy. Although not all jalapenos are spicy, I should taste it. Pretty weak jalapeno, honestly. Okay, that one, and then this one, and I'll just call the rest of them okay. I'll just pinch the seeds off of that one and that one. That one. Okay. Okay. Hang on to those. Put the piths in our scraps. Probably take the pineapples off the stove, because again, they're going. Yeah, you're done. You're done, pineapples, you're done. You're done enough that I want to get you completely out of the pan there. Okay, that can stay put. Front burner is blazing hot. Get you away from the front burner. 30 seconds before the ad timer runs down, and then it's like 2 minutes for the ad or something. 2 or 3 minutes for the ad. Let's just make sure I've got all my bits and pieces ready to go. Hot pineapple is looking very little caramelized edges, so I think we got good on that. It's still very juicy. Move stuff out of the way, move stuff out of the way. This thing's hard to snack on, but it's so delicious. So yeah, I love pineapple. I just only love super ripe pineapple. Also, canned pineapple, they put a whole bunch of citric acid in there to help as a preservative, and I think it makes it too sour. Or too sharp compared to fresh. The fresh stuff is just super good. Give this wipe down. There's the ad. Okay. Okay, 40 seconds. The oven remains hot. As you get out the cheese, I did get out the cheese. Where did I put the cheese? Cheese. Oh, I put it in the back over here. Cheese. Board. And we are fully back from the ad. Okay. Here's the cheese, which we're going to put on top of some of the other ingredients. But we're going to assemble. It is the time. The appointed time has arrived. Rejoice. think I eyeballed just the right amount of sauce too, which is good. Because you don't want too much sauce on a pizza. You don't want to really glop it on or the pizza will be soggy. But you need enough that you can push it out and get good coverage. I did leave a little lip around our edges here, so we can just push up against that and be pretty secure. But I just like 1 scoop of sauce over. Okay, the meats, I think. Or do we put the meats or the vegetables? We're gonna throw our green peppers on. Red onion. Now the meats. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what it's doing today. I noticed that too. It's acting like it does when there's a reflector on the surface here. It's this camera. It's just the camera that's doing it. And it's when I'm sort of around the lower edge here with my hands. Because if I go up in the middle, it works. But I don't know why. It would be when my hands are down here, it wants to freeze. I can just sort of keep a hand in the middle, and hopefully that protects it. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, I noticed that too, and I have no idea what could be causing that because it hasn't done that before. I have, in the past, commented how this specific camera, you guys right there, this one needs to be replaced. This camera is the problem camera. We're at the stage where I've gotten enough money from you guys' generosity here on the channel that I could afford one, so I should just go for that. I want even coverage. I'm going to eat that piece of bacon. Okay, cool. Oh. Now what have you done? I'm not even there. Oh, it's freezing when it can see the entire pizza. Because when my hand is here, it's good. And then when I take my hand off, it freezes. If I take the pizza away, bizarre. Is this burner hot still? No. Let's finish assembling pizza over here so that it doesn't keep freezing on me. I want the pineapple to be visible. And also, I don't really want it to be under the cheese because the cheese might seal it in, and there's going to be steam. So we're going to cheese now. I got fresh mozzarella for this. Pre-sliced, because slicing this stuff is annoying. And the pre-sliced literally costs the same as the solid log. I see you found the little dancing dinosaur. I too love the little dancing dinosaur. It's the first ever global animated emote. Okay. There will be fresh basil. I have fresh basil, but you don't typically put fresh basil on before baking. You put it on after baking, because it gets all brown when you bake it. Everything's so tasty. Everything's so tasty. This is going to be delicious. We're going to throw our jalapeno rings on there above the cheese so that they're nice and visible, because I think they're a very attractive topper as well. And then our pineapple chunks. Which we've really loaded this pizza. This is also why you really had to pre-cook the crust. There was no way it was going to cook with all this stuff on it. Harden up enough to be structural. Oop, dropped a piece there. And we're just kind of getting it in there everywhere. Nestle them in. Taste one. Mmm. 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 They're hot. It's hot. Okay. Yep. Pineapple pizza. And now that beastie goes in the oven. The crust is cooked and the meats are cooked. So the only thing, and the vegetables are acceptable as is. The only thing that we need to be considering now is that it's all melty and gooey and glued together into a pizza. And then we're going to top it, when it's done, with basil and scallions. We have a few odds and ends left that I can combine with some leftover pepper and a couple of those squashes that you can't see that are just off the side of the camera. That can be lunch tomorrow. These odds and ends, I'll use this bag since I got this bag out and didn't end up using it. I can throw that into like a stir fry tomorrow. Okay, I don't have a timer. It's just we're just gonna eyeball. We're gonna look at it and we're gonna wait for that cheese to be done. And while we are doing so, I'm gonna go cut some basil. You guys keep an eye on the fort. Let's take a big old basil. I need to use more basil anyways. It's another reason I wanted to make a pizza today. The desire to use as much basil as possible. Because my basil is going crazy out here. I think it's getting too much sun is what it's doing. Because the ones that are partially shaded aren't flowering like mad. I think the ones that are getting full sun are getting a little bit cooked, and they're responding by producing tons and tons of flowers. We don't need the scissors for this. This is our purple basil. The leaves are naturally this sort of dark purplish color. Although some of them have gone a bit green as the basil has tried to bolt on me. As you can see, it has been successfully bolting. It's going like mad out there. But it still had good flavor, maybe a little bit muted. Bugs got to that one. This is probably more basil than I need. That's fine, as I mentioned. Too much basil. Gotta cut more basil. Gotta use more basil. It's basil time. I should go out there and top every single one of those basils and like make a pesto out of it all. Just go ham on the basil. Add some ham to it. And also, some of these scallions are a little bit worse for wear. Scallion, which I didn't want to put on the pizza before baking because I think this stuff kind of doesn't hold up to heat super well compared to other onions. But I think it's an important part of a fried rice experience to have some scallion. So, oh, you know, I was going to put some garlic on there too. Oh well. There's plenty of stuff going on there. There's some garlic powder in the sauce, so it's not completely, and in the pork dust. It's not completely without garlic, but I didn't put any fresh garlic in. The pineapple pizza exists as a global emote on account of putting pineapple on pizza being such a contentious thing. Cut those ends. Probably have too much of this as well. We don't need to clear the board anymore. That one looks ugly. We'll get rid of that one. looks a little bit ugly. We'll get rid of that one. That's just a piece of stem. We'll get rid of that. Nice. Okay. Okay. We're baking a pizza. The cheese is starting to melt. The cheeses are starting to melt. We have a minute to kill. Bang. Keep getting these little gnats. They must be here. Probably here for the pineapple, honestly, because it's been so fragrant. I'm sure they could smell it a mile off, and they're coming for it. Huh. So what are you guys having for dinner? You know what I'm having for dinner? You just watched me make it. But what's up with y'all? What are you guys having? I know Jen went out to Muay Thai. I can find more things to put on top. I think it's fully loaded. I think our pizza is fully loaded at this stage. I don't know that we're gonna have more stuff on it. As it is, it might have a hard time really getting cooked. I'm just gonna keep sort of tidying around. Let's see, there are some clean dishes I can put away while I'm standing here. BLT? How did you know that's my favorite sandwich? Oh god, and it's BLT season too. I made myself a BLT the other day just because I love them so much. Because tomatoes are coming in. So we're getting into tomato season, and that's BLT season. Because the BLT, and I will not waver on this. A BLT is a tomato sandwich. A tomato first and foremost. Bacon is a seasoning. And the lettuce is mostly there for texture. So yeah, we're going to spend the next few minutes just sort of tidying up, putting things away. You know, I've seen BLTs. Arby's had a BLT for a while, and I've seen a lot of other BLTs where they will just go nuts with the bacon. They'll make it a bacon sandwich with a bit of lettuce and a bit of tomato, and that's the wrong way to go around it. It's the tomato it should be tomato forward. You don't want to go crazy with the bacon. Let's clear out the scraps bowl. And that's why I don't really like restaurant BLTs so much, because they do just lean in on the bacon, because that's like it goes on the menu. They can take a picture of it. People go gaga for bacon. And I think they just spoil it when they do that. And that's my very particular and strongly held opinion on BLTs. Get all these forks and spoons and spatulas and bowls in the sink there. But yeah, but since it's tomato forward, since it's a tomato sandwich, yeah, bacon exactly. Since it's tomato forward, the BLT is best during tomato season when the tomatoes are coming in. You can get those really, really nice tomatoes. If you've got crappy middle of winter greenhouse tomatoes, in that case, yeah, drowning it in bacon is appropriate because you're covering up a really lousy tomato. Let's take a peek. Ooh, the cheeses have met each other. It's fresh mozzarella as well, so it's probably going to have a little bit of a harder time fully like covering the pizza. And then we added a bunch of liquid on top when we dumped all those pineapples on there. And the fridge is looking a little bit less overfull than it was last week. Oh boy, last week the fridge was just bursting at the seams, and I actually ended up throwing some stuff away because I didn't get to it in time because I went too hard. On some things, and I just lost track of all the stuff that I had been acquiring. I'm just it's the summer. All the produce is coming in. I will definitely need to trim down the rest of the pineapple and save it. I wonder if I can plant the crown. I've done that before and it kind of works. This one's a little bit sad of a crown, so it might not even take, but yes, before I pack out for the evening, we're definitely going to trim that guy. It's currently sort of perched on the edge. You can see it. It's right there. Perched on the edge of the sink so that when the cut side drips, it'll drip into the sink. You can look at me for a minute. The dark side of because this light's not on. Because that light's not on, that makes the back there a little bit less dark. Oh, I need to clear the camera station too. I need to clear the camera station too. We still have snake gourds that I haven't used up. We have an ad approaching. The snake gourds were living on the camera station for the time being there. They'll be moved to the dining room table. Okay. I kind of want to put the broiler on because our pizza crust is done and we want the top of this to cook more. But if I broil it, then we really need to keep an eye on it. We have an ad coming up in 2 minutes. I'm going to pre-run the ad right now. Bam. So that I can sort of take a peek at this guy. And I think we're gonna crack it up to broil. Yeah. We're gonna crank it up to broil. I gotta get this done before people lose interest and wander off. And also before I miss my dinner window. Again, because the crust is pre-cooked, I'm literally just looking at the toppings for doneness. It'll be molten hot. That's for sure. That's fine. I need to take photos. I need to do those things before we cut into it regardless. It will have been, when the ad break ends, it will have been onto the broiler for a minute. The ad break has ended. Take a peek. It's not very close to the top, so the broiler's not like right on top of it. We have it in the center rack. So it's not like it's broiling right up against the coil. Come on, my face. Green onions. We're going to put the extra scallions away. Look at all the things I got in here. I've got blueberries. I'm considering pulling Saturday's show up to Friday, which is tomorrow, just because I've talked about how Saturday morning conflicts with the farmer's market. And I always end up feeling like I'm in such a scramble. What's my face all itchy right there? Leave that alone. Don't pick your face. Don't scratch on your face on camera. That because Saturday is butts up against the farmer's market, and Sunday I do something at noon. So then, if I did that as a morning thing, I'd be hitting myself on a hard out, which doesn't always work out. So we might pull away from the weekends, or we could try a Saturday later in the day. I'm sorry, an itchy spot on my face. I got an itchy spot on my face, and I can't deal with it right now, and I keep unconsciously going for it. So ooh, okay, yes. We have brown spots on the cheese. Not massive brown spots, but we've started to develop browning spots on the cheese. So, broiler off. I'm going to let the coil cool off a little bit before I reach in. But then we're going to probably pull it out and have at it. Well, pull it out and look at it. Grab some photos. I'm going to lay down a trivet over at the camera station and plug in my light. So that when I bring it over, I can set it down and not burn things. The coil should be no longer glowing by now, so let's pop over to the stove. Open the oven all the way. And reveal pizza. That right there is a pizza. You can see the pineapple, obviously, but there's also bits of pork poking through, bits of bacon poking through. I'm glad I put the jalapeno rings on top because you cannot see either the green peppers or the red onions. But I think these little green circles give it a nice look. It has shrunk back from the pan a little bit around the edges. The cheese has melted and kind of stuck together, and we got to the point of little brown speckling, which is exactly where I want my cheese to be. Our outer crust might be a little dry and crunchy. That is definitely a possibility because it's all exposed. It's too hot for me to try to get it off the pan right away. So bear with me for a sec. I'm going to move it over to my camera station. Well, no, here. I will start with some scallions because I wanted to put some scallions on. Some fresh scallions on after it was baked. I can definitely make food look good. The trick is, will it taste good? I can't imagine this not tasting good, but definitely a possibility that it could be one of those, oh, that really didn't work moments. We've had a few of those. I usually know my flavors well enough that I can dodge those, but put that in there. So that's our fresh scallions and our fresh basil, which we don't need a ton of. Last time I did a pizza, people said, "Oh, there's leaves on your pizza." I guess putting fresh basil on the pizza after it's been cooked is not as well known as I thought it was. That's a pretty even distribution. We'll put one more over there. Okay, now this has to go over to our camera station for photos before I cut into it or even try to get it off the pan. So bear with me for a sec while I wander off camera, set this down on our prepared trivet, and snap some photos. Wake up the camera. Okay. Always got to snap a bunch of photos because, like, a third of them come out blurry. It seems like no matter what I do. And we're back, and we're back, and we're back, and we're back, and we are back. Switch the camera off. I'll grab photos of a single slice later after we taste. After we get to the tasting. These guys need to get off of there. Random bowl go. Okay. And now we have the challenging bit of getting this thing off of the pan in one piece. Has it gone soggy on us? It might have. I I need to get it onto a flat surface that is as big as it is, because it's wider than my board. I don't think it's going to stand up straight as a slice. I think we've put a little bit too many juicy things on top, and we're going to probably have to eat the middle with a fork. It doesn't have a puddle on it, though, so that's a good sign. So we might actually get away with it. I need a bigger board. That's something I had not considered. Maybe? That's going to be hard to clean. I don't want to cut it directly in the pan because I'm afraid of scratching the nonstick on the pan. I'd like to get it out of the pan, which I've done with other pizzas. Let's get a spatula under it. And ensure that we're not stuck anywhere. Definitely has a little bit of flop to it. It looks like some of the sauce may have leaked through into the undercarriage. So yeah, it's a non-stick pizza pan, and it has quite a good non-stick on it. So I've been trying to be very gentle with the pan, because I do some crazy things in this pan, and they work better when it's very non-stick. I don't even know a plate that big. We have our large. I could try cutting a piece with the plastic spatula. That's true. Oh, that's a heavy stack of plates. Okay, plate. Let's see if we can't cut it with the edge of the spatula. Yeah, it's got a bit of a softness to it. Enough that I can get through it with the edge of the spatula. We're gonna go for a quarter of it. And I can artfully arrange 2 slices by cutting that in half. Okay, yeah. I was worried it would be too strong for the edge of a spatula, but no, it definitely has a bit of softness to it. Okay, good call. And then I can get this piece, the quarter here, onto the board. Okay. Okay, cool. And then I can just grab a knife and turn that piece into 2 nice pieces. It's a little gushy. It's a little bit gushy. It's running a little bit afoul of pizza structural integrity. So I am going to get out a fork. Because I would like to taste test it now. This is going to be the plate I do for a artful plate. Actually, can we get it there? Oh, it definitely went soft in the middle. Okay. We're going to pretend that they are nice intact pieces for the photo. Okay. I'm gonna go quick grab some photos of this now, and then I will be right back to taste it. It's still very hot too, so hot enough that I don't want to just stick it right in my mouth right away. So let's grab a few more photos while we have a chance. Okay, now we taste it. Is it wrong that weird fusion food like this feels like my comfort zone? This is the kind of thing I could just make up and like, look. Okay, it is definitely too floppy to pick up and eat like a pizza, so I'm gonna have to cut some chunks off here. Down the hatch. Mmm. Mmm. Interesting. The pineapple is prominent, nice and sweet. It's nice and meaty. It's got an interesting little crunch from the fried rice crust. It's giving an interesting crunch. It's got a spicy burn to it. Surprisingly, the sauce is not jumping out at me. It's there, but it's not like jumping out at me. It's good. It's not wowing me. And I think it's because I think it's the proportion of the sauce to the cheese, because the toppings all taste good. I think I may have added just a little bit too much cheese. I can try picking it up as we get closer to the edge, but it's okay. You can get it up. You can get it up, but you got to support it. It's not. A little cheese stretch there. So it's okay. Each bite is slightly different so far. That bite that I just took tasted a lot more like fried rice. The first one was much more like cheesy pineapple. Okay, it's getting better as I sort of explore around. It's very heterogeneous. Each bit is like slightly different on account of how chunky we made the toppings. It's got this sort of medium, gentle back of the throat burn that is already starting to creep up on me a little bit. So probably don't want to eat a ton of these, or you'll get a little bit of a burn to you. And that's where that's coming. Usually jalapeno gives me a front of the mouth burn. The pork is providing a good sort of meatiness. The bacon is kind of getting lost, honestly. It was definitely helpful for greasing that pan, which we used for both the pork and the pineapple. The actual pieces of bacon on the pizza are a little bit lost. They were a little bit not prominent, and that's probably because this was a lower salt bacon in general, so it's not really screaming with flavor to begin with, which is fine. I'm going for another bite. Also, the pork is nice and tender. Not having a problem chewing through that at all. I was worried the pork would dry out, but not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I think a flavored bacon or a at least one that's more strongly cured would give it a little bit more oomph. Jen, you're back. Yes, just in time for the pizza tasting. It's an exploration. Some bites are very fried rice. Some bites are more like the bites with the pineapple jumps out for sure. It's got good sort of crunch texture from the onions and the peppers. Those are still like good texture underneath all that. I'm just surprised that the sauce didn't jump out more. It kind of cooked out. Probably because there's so many things going on. They're all kind of fighting with each other, and none of them are jumping up to the top, except the pineapple, which is the one thing that is significantly different from all the other ones in that it is a sweet flavor. So it stands out against the backdrop of a bunch of savory flavors. I think that's what's happening. Because when I tasted all these things along the way, they were good. Even the bacon was pretty good. But I think we just went savory on savory on savory, and all those savory things kind of stacked up on each other. We lost our structural integrity, and I wonder if that's just because we put too much stuff on it, and that we should have dialed it back a little bit. But I really wanted to load this guy up. He looks great. It looks great. We pop back over to the stove. The whole pizza looks wonderful. I think we also probably should have, and I know it was too late. Ryuya had a good idea there with the marinating or dry rubbing the pork, and I think doing a actual like flavored marinade would have helped that a lot. As I think that would have been a good booster, because then we could have put some flavors in there that were a little different. A thicker crust might give us more structural integrity, and would definitely lean it in the direction of tasting more like the fried rice. Because the bites where there's not a lot of topping, I should try one of these crust pieces, one of the outer crust pieces. Some of the bites taste a lot like fried rice, and I think that's when I'm getting a bite that's got more crust than topping. Let's try one of these end pieces. The crust tastes like fried rice, and the outer crust has a crunch to it. kind of like the bottom of a paella, which makes sense because it's rice that's been toasted up against a metal surface. So yeah, the crust tastes a lot like fried rice, but it's a little bit mild. You know what we should have done? It's the flavors in the crust. I think we should have put a little bit more salt, maybe in the form of soy sauce, into the crust. I think the crust, that's what's holding it back a little bit. The crust is just a little mild because it tastes like fried rice, but it tastes like a very mild fried rice. And I think that's where it's losing it. I think the whole thing, I think the entire thing is a little undersalted, which is weird for pizza, but keep in mind the tomato we used was a unsalted tomato puree. The meat we put on there, the bacon was supposed to be a salty component, but it was a low salt bacon. The pork had basically no salt in it. I think I undersalted the pizza, which is weird because pizza is usually quite salty. And I think that's where I'm losing it. I think that's the element I'm losing it. We should have put more. We should have put some more salt in the crust, I think. Okay, I think I've teased it out where it fell flat. So it's a little the flavors are good, but the whole thing is a little like muted. The whole thing feels just a little bit, I don't know, lesser. Let's try it. One last bite here with a fresh dollop of our homemade sauce. I used dark soy because I was afraid about adding a bunch of extra liquid to the rice. And dark soy is thicker, so it was less liquidy. I probably should have just used regular soy sauce. Or even Maggi seasoning would probably have worked there. But let's try one last bite with a dollop of the sauce, just fresh, unbaked. Mmm. Mmm. The sauce is real good too. I almost think we should just put more sauce on it. I'm gonna snooze that. I've been rambling long enough. The next ad is coming up, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna rate out before that happens. I said snooze. Okay, well, anyways, I think I've teased out what the problem is. Twitch is not letting me snooze this ad, so we're gonna rate out before the ad happens instead. It's also been 2.5 hours, so good time to leave. I think the thickness of the crust is good. I think it just needs more flavor. A little bit less sauce and a little bit more sauce and a little bit less cheese. Yeah, I think that's the assessment. Let's go drop us off at somebody else doing something. Oh, I don't usually raid on Thursdays. We're going to raid Hecky, who's playing one of my favorite video games, Fallout New Vegas. The best Fallout. And we're going to try to get this raid in before the ad plays, which we will do. Thanks for hanging out. Saturday's kind of up in the air. I'm thinking about moving it, but I haven't concretely said I'm going to move it. Schedule flux. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I always appreciate the love. Thanks to Toka for the raid. Those are always exciting. Thank this was a fun project. I might come back on this one at some point. Probably not right away. Yeah. I guess I got nothing more to say. I got some cleanup to do. We got to trim down that pineapple, so I can't wait too long. Yeah. So let's all say hi to Hecky when we get there. I don't know what part of New Vegas she's in, but we'll find out when we get there, I guess. Here's the countdown. Bye.